Hello. I hope everybody has been doing well. I Today's talk is going to be a lot. I'm going to warn y'all right now. Let me actually make myself comfortable. I suggest that y'all do the same. Got both the cats on the bed. They're going to get comfy. All right. So I'm going to start this off with a brief kind of reminder about narcissism and a narcissistic narrative, because it's very important to this story. So narcissism, for me, everybody I think kind of has a different definition when they've been through it. You know, they all are similar, right, and like borderline the same, but everybody's different, right? And there's different types of narcissism. So my interpretation of it is a human being who is has the belief that they are omnipotent, and they're obsessed with not even obsessed with themselves. It all stems from childhood. So weren't loved, didn't have the right shit growing up. So you zone in on you, your life, and what your needs are, and you will do anything to get your needs met, regardless of how you make others feel. Now, a narcissistic's narrative is very important to them because this is what they believe to be true. So core belief, right? Their core belief is, let me give an example about my mother, just so, because it's closer. When it would come to jobs, you know, there were a few, if anybody knows me or my mom, they would be laughing. There's a lot of jobs that she was in and out of because of somebody else, right? But she was never the problem. Never. And if you brought that up to her, it'd be like, you're not supporting her, right? So that's just kind of like a very basic, like, drawing board explanation of this shit. But the thing is that it goes really, really deep. And depending on who and what they've been through and what their resources are, everything's different, right? So everybody's experience with a narcissist can be different. I mean, there can be abuse. I mean, it's all abuse when it comes down to it. These are people that I've always believed, like, when it comes down to really big emotional abuse and very almost crafted, if you understand, like crafted towards people. It's the gaslighting, you know, like that's you're remembering it wrong, you know, just fucking with your head. That shit I believe people should be in jail for. Now, the boomer generation has what I believe, and a lot of people believe, to be honest, has the biggest reputation of being extremely narcissistic. And the most horrible thing about this is they don't know, right? And what narcissist is going to take accountability. It's another thing. There's no accountability. You're wrong, because they can't fathom having to be wrong. It doesn't work with their narrative. So they will do anything that they can to uphold this narrative that they have of themselves, right? Because if they don't, then they start to feel uncomfortable. So a narcissist feels a lot of guilt and shame, which is also a reason that a lot of them are alcoholics or addicts, because that's something that numbs pain, but then also creates a omnipotent feeling. So, you know, cocaine, fucking booze, you get that liquid courage, right? Now, I've held back from really talking about this because I didn't want to make the situation worse. And I also just honestly didn't think it was worth it, but now it is. And I've sat on this for 2 days. I've been to the gym. I've been eating well. I've been sitting outside a little bit, and I've been thinking of whether or not I wanted to do this or not. And I'm sober still, right? So I decided I did, because I went to the gym today, listened to music, had a great lift, and this just would not leave my brain. Now, me and my boyfriend lived in Florida for a year. He went to school to be a motorcycle technician. He got a job back home. Now, when we moved back up, it was out of necessity. One, I had had wrist surgery. So we moved back up in April? Yes, April of 2024. I had surgery in January 26th, 2024. So this surgery entailed me needing bone from my hip shaved off and put into my wrist because my wrist had decayed while being in Florida because I didn't know it was broken. So I ended up having to stay with my narcissistic, abusive, alcoholic mother. And that didn't last very long. It was supposed to be till he graduated in March. Yeah, I think it was March. But that's not what happened. So I ended up having to pack my shit in the darkness of night and then have my friend come help me put it all in her small car and then take it to U-Haul while my mother was at work. So a very fast-paced thing because I didn't want to get caught, right? And then she wouldn't let me have anybody in the house to help me move my shit because she had to be able to control the situation. Anyway, I digress. I ended up going back down to Florida. He graduates. We move back up because I needed to go get my wrist checked out because I had just had this surgery. I wasn't technically really supposed to leave, but my doctor understood my situation and gave me the okay. We moved in to my boyfriend's mother's house. Now, we are not living with her. She's rented this house out to us. I'm going to try really hard to stay on track and stay in somewhat chronological order. We moved in April 2024. I had no idea that where she was living was just 2 houses away from this house. If I would have known that, I would have never moved in here. But at the time I had, and maybe I'll go into like a more in-depth, I don't know. I've talked a lot about my childhood here. But I was going through a lot of shock and realizing that my mother was a narcissist, realizing that things in my childhood were a lie. My world kind of crumbled around me and I didn't have support besides Kyle, and then he was gone. Then I went back down and then I had this surgery, which I've also broken my wrist 8 other times. So it was also triggering in that type of way, which I hate that word triggering, but it's just the one I'm using right now. It was just all really, really shitty. And it also didn't help that, right, like I realized my mother's a narcissist, so I'm doing all this research. I'm buying books, I'm reading articles, I'm taking notes and remembering things from my childhood. I had consistent flashbacks. I was really, really having a really hard time. I had to get back into therapy, which I'm all for, but I had been out of it for, I think, about 8 months. I had been out of therapy for 8 months. So then I got back in. So I'm dealing with a lot. And then we're like, let's move up here because, his mother is going to do us a favor and give us this house because it's paid off, like for cheap rent. And she knows that we don't got a lot of money right now. And I just had this surgery. So his mother charged the woman before us $650 a month for this house. And her reason for that was that she only used 1 room, which doesn't make sense. And this woman did not pay utilities and was not related to his mother at all. She paid $650, and when we did not have time to find a place in Florida once we found out the number, so we were just going to have to suck it up. My boyfriend's mother decided that she had originally wanted $1,200 for this place, knowing that we knew that the woman before us spent $650 a month. Now, we got it down to $1,000, and that was probably my first red flag, was that this is her son and she doesn't care. But maybe I'll be able to have Kyle on here sometime and he can talk about his childhood. But I will sum it up very, very shortly. His childhood was not great. A lot of shitty things happened to him. He was put in a lot of uncomfortable situations. My boyfriend also has autism that was never diagnosed and made his life very, very difficult up until now. And his mother is a drunk like mine and drank throughout his whole entire childhood and was not a participating, loving mother. And his sister raised him quite a bit because his parents were off drinking. So that's just a short sum. I had that red flag because I was like, why would she not give us the same amount of rent, right? The same the same payment as the woman before, because especially since this is, the son that she birthed out of her body, right? Okay. We move up, and soon after we're moving our shit into the house, I realized that this was a huge mistake. And I begin to realize this more and more and become more and more enraged with this woman for the last year and a half that we've been living here. When we first moved into the home, she repeatedly would come over unannounced. And in the beginning, I thought it was normal. I thought she reminded me a lot of my family, not necessarily privileged in any way, just getting by and a quiet woman. Okay? And I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. And her coming over right when we had moved in, her son is here. This is exciting for her. I didn't think too much of it. Then she started to come over repeatedly, very often, multiple times a week, with no notice. Now, I am not her child. I didn't have a close relationship with her, so I was really starting to be uncomfortable. Also, whenever I speak to her, there really isn't anything that she says. There's nothing that, like the conversation in general, I just didn't enjoy with this person. And as I'm kind of healing and going through this whole process of, figuring out my family, figuring out my mom shit and kind of trying to communicate with my father and all of this stuff, this woman is not at all supportive. The things I've told her about my childhood, she dismissed. One of my favorite things that she said was that you're not with your mom anymore, you're with Kyle, so you're okay. Which that in itself, let's just sit with that for 2 seconds. Like, you don't understand trauma, right? Which is a big reason that the boomer generation is filled with narcissism, because they don't understand that they are all traumatized from their shitty parents. So they've made their lives revolve around them. Check out Tim Dillon and talking about boomers if you want a more in-depth and very funny commentary about the topic. Highly recommend. Super funny. So that doesn't really make sense. They don't understand that they needed to process the things that happened to them so that they didn't continue on with generational trauma and curses, right? But she's not somebody that would ever think about that, nor take the accountability and get herself help. So she doesn't understand how much work goes into fixing your trauma and making yourself better. Going to text my boyfriend very quickly and let him know I'm recording. So this was something I was picking up on. Her narcissism was just becoming more and more apparent because, talking with her more, she would talk about her kids' childhood, and then I had known the truth about both of her kids' childhoods, but I'm not going to talk about Kyle's sister. I'm talking about Kyle. And I knew that what she was saying wasn't true. And I'm not someone who lies. I might not say anything, but I'm not going to lie. So I said I would ask them that because I think that they would have something else to say, right? Lots of conversations like that. Me kind of trying to open up and be comfortable with like how I talk and talking shit and trying to be me. And also, this is very brief, but it does have something to do with later on. I was raised by all white people. My boyfriend's family is all white. And race doesn't really matter to me, but it starts to matter when it's not taken into consideration that I am different. Because you can't really lump somebody in with your shit when you don't understand the full spectrum of what somebody's been through, you know? And I don't like to, I'm not asking for any special treatment or anything like that. I'm just also trying to like figure out who the fuck I am and like self-identify with like, I am a black woman. I'm half black. When people look at me, they see me as like light-skinned or black or Hispanic. I get that a lot. I've gotten so many different things, to be honest. It's wild. I like being so eclectic looking because it's interesting to see what people say. And I've also never been offended really by people like guessing my race or anything, because to me race has never mattered. I know I've talked a lot about my opinions on certain races and cultures, but those are just my opinions. It doesn't mean that there aren't great people in every single group. I'm talking about stereotypes and, you know, what has been present in my life, what I've seen in my worldview, right? It's my opinion. She would often talk about her ex-husband and say all these crazy, shitty things. And at the time, I didn't really know or was too fond of Kyle's father because I just didn't really know him very well. So I just didn't, I don't know. The vibes I had gotten at first weren't necessarily the best. And I also was somebody that was still healing, still am, but still healing in like a very raw area. So I was just easily triggered by a lot of boomer behavior. But now I found a way to navigate it. But as I'm listening to her talk about, you know, her shit with her ex-husband, a lot of it's looking like she gave up and she doesn't care. And a lot of it I found out was a lie. And or, again, her narrative of the story. Now, I wasn't there. I'm not one of these kids. So I'm not going to say that I know what was going on or what was actually the story. I actually don't care either. So we won't get into that. Now, I hadn't started working for like the first 3 months that I had been here because my wrist was still healing. I was still healing. Mentally, I was not okay. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about was that this generation is so money hungry and focused on being a Rockefeller prodigy, meaning he wants a nation of workers, not thinkers. They are so brainwashed into believing that going to work and being miserable for your entire life is the exact way to be doing things. And then you can have 10 to 20 years after you retire to enjoy your life. This is what these boomers believe. They believe that if you aren't working, then you're lazy. It has nothing to do with the fact that I was molested by my mother. My whole life became a lie. Everything crumbled around me. I lost my whole support system. And I got diagnosed with 2 different mental disorders, which I'm not big into doctors. But these things explain a lot of what has been going on with my body. Not to say that I can't overcome them, because I actually do think I could. But for the moment, that was what's going on. So, you know, that's interesting to me because these humans do not seem to comprehend how fucked up they are and how fucked up they have made their children by not dealing with any trauma. And they think that they're correct in what they've been doing and working their ass off. But now they've worked and worked and worked, and now they're sick, and now they have to pay or be poisoned by big pharma. And they live out the rest of their lives on pills that make them sick, and they have to take more pills for. But that's the type of life that I'm expected to want to live. That's what I'm expected to do from these people. And I think I've talked about, you know, the system a lot on my podcast, so I won't really get into it that much. But the whole thing doesn't work anymore. So you guys, these boomers can go ahead and think that, you know, this is the way to do things, but the economy isn't correct, to put it mildly. The amount of input you put into a job, the output is still the same. Minimum wage and pay has not gone up. There are so many people I know that are working that have had to move back in with their fucking parents because nobody can afford anything. And the boomers have still clogged up the housing market and they've taken all the opportunities. So I have a really, really difficult time with the boomer generation and what they believe is essential for success, because it doesn't work anymore. And also the lack of empathy for what is going on in the world and how terrible it is, and how nobody can afford anything, yet boomers have their Corvettes or whatever the fuck, and yet everyone else around them, including their family, their children, and their grandchildren, no one can or will be able to afford anything. Now, I won't say will, because let's be positive and manifest, right? Like, we will be okay. But yeah, so that's something that really pisses me off. So that was something also I was kind of learning, and I was looking at the system and seeing how fucked up it was. I had started working at a smoke shop, and that was kind of stupid, and I ended up leaving after 3 months because they would leave girls alone till midnight in a smoke shop off of a city or a street that is populated by some, like, not heavily populated at all, but raggedy, homeless looking people. And not to say that homeless are dangerous, they aren't all the time, but there's definitely people that have different motives for what they're trying to do, and that doesn't necessarily mingle well with a single person in there, regardless of the sex, male or female. But to have a woman there alone in the darkness of night was just bullshit. So I ended up leaving because that's absolutely not okay. Me and actually a friend that I met there, I'm still friends with to this day, we actually both left within the same week. So that was cool, and I'm still friends with her. So I definitely got something out of that. Later, I ended up going and waiting tables for 9 months at this certain restaurant. And during that, I had kind of disintegrated my conversations with Melinda, which I guess I wasn't going to say her name. Maybe Kyle can bleep that if he doesn't want it, but I'll try and just say Mom from now on, his mother. I wasn't really into talking to her anymore. She had insulted my boyfriend, her son, to my face in front of me multiple times. She had dismissed the things I've said to her. We often would get into conversations with her, and she just didn't answer anything. She just sits there. She doesn't really say shit. She's very, weak-minded and lacks a lot of confidence. So she kind of just sits there like a statue. And she doesn't understand how to speak to people nicely. And she also doesn't have any social cues, which brings me to my next points of me finding her in my backyard weeding, or picking up some sort of pot that she had while I'm in the bedroom with my boyfriend getting dressed, and I see her out my backyard. She would peer in my fucking windows by putting her hands up to the glass and looking inside while Kyle is not home. It's just me. So there's no reason for her to really be over here. She would give me no notice. She would work her way into the home and invade. She would come in, and this is the epitome of the narcissism that I can't stand. She would come over, smoke my weed, which was fine, and then talk about herself. And if I talked about myself, she really didn't say much about what I had to say. So there's really no benefit of having you in my life whatsoever. The biggest thing was that one day, I didn't really want to. At this point, I had just kind of gotten the vibes that I wasn't fond of her, but I agreed to go with her for a drink. This is the biggest story that I think is the most important in all of this. I agreed to go for a drink with her. I get in her car. We're driving to the corner dive bar where she sits. Also a place that's filled with pretty much only white people. Now, I myself am definitely right-leaning, right? I can also talk to anybody. I can feel comfortable in a lot of different situations. But this bar makes me uncomfortable. And it's not because I'm black. It just makes me uncomfortable. I don't like being around drunks. I don't drink. I slowed my drinking quite a bit. So there was no point in me going up there. It smells, it's weird, it's dingy, and the bathroom sucks. And I'm not going to go up there and spend time with her when she doesn't really talk about anything. She's very unhygienic and to be honest, gross to look at. I'm sure we all can think of that one person that we've met in our life where looking at them is kind of hard because you can tell how much they don't take care of themselves, and you kind of lose respect for that person, especially when she's grown and should know better. So I agree to go and get this drink with her. We're driving to the corner bar. She stops before we get there, and she turns around and says, I forgot my phone. She has a phone wallet combo. She pulls back into the driveway and walks up to the steps. I get on my phone because I think I need to look something up on Safari or whatever. I'm sitting there and it's 5 minutes. And I'm like, it shouldn't take this long to run in and grab the phone. I know that she's had pre-existing health conditions. So I'm like, oh, well, let me go check, because is today going to be one of those fucking days, where I got to go and call an ambulance because she had a stroke, another stroke, or did she collapse, I walk up to the steps, I grab the door handle, and I say something like hello or hey, but as I'm grabbing the door handle, I look down and I'm standing in her fecal matter. I'm standing in my boyfriend's mother's shit on her front step. I was in utter shock and disbelief, as I think anybody would be. I waddled across the street 2 houses down, right to my house, which I hated. I hated living in at that time. Very shortly I started to hate living here. And I hosed myself off in the backyard. Because I was wearing flip-flops and bell-bottom jeans as I stepped in his mother's feces. Liquid diarrhea. I hose myself off. I get my flip-flops clean. And she pulls into my driveway with different shorts on, and she asks me where I went. Which I find to be funny, because I feel like if she would have opened her eyes, which she's very bad at with a lot of things, she would have noticed the trail I left of shit, because there was shit on my fucking feet. I still go and get a drink with her. She does not mention anything about this. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Yet, she's called me family. Now, if we're family and you, quote, love me, then you would probably make a joke, or you would have said, hey, I gotta run back to the house and shit real quick. But no, you hid these things because, again, no confidence, you're weak, and you, of course, it's embarrassing, sure. But if you said that you had a health problem, hey, I gotta go to the fucking bathroom, go, shit. No problem, bitch, I feel you. We all been there. But you chose to ignore it for 8 fucking months. I'll say give or take 2 months. But we'll say 8. This is the biggest thing for me, because of course it's disgusting. Of course it's crazy. But there's absolutely no excuse for it. It's disgusting, vile behavior. Not telling me about it. I'm not even talking about the shit. Everything happens, right? You can piss yourself, you can shit yourself, you can vomit on yourself. It happens. It's happened to everybody. Everybody's had a fucking accident. But to not mention it to your son's girlfriend and to ignore it, and then continue to come to my home unannounced and invade my fucking space, And with everything that she is, and her narcissism and her lack of decency and her lack of accountability with her kid's childhood, and the fact that we had asked her now. We had set the boundary. I need some water. We had set the boundary and asked her to text before she comes over. She had even understood, because her in-law, when she was married, would come over and she didn't like it. And she used that as an example, as that she understood, correct? Okay, she continues to come over. The oddest thing is mostly, if not always, when Kyle is not here. She would come over. I had my first friend here because I was excited I could hang my tapestries, and I got my stuff out of storage after being locked up, after I had put it in there for my mom's, and I had my friend come up here. She came over unannounced and came to meet my friend. Not cool. I didn't invite you. And for anybody thinking, well, Nina, like, she just wanted, no. I don't know you. You're not my fucking family. I didn't invite you to my home, to where I'm sleeping and laying my head at night. This is where I shit, shower, shave, and sleep. I did not invite you into my, what do they say, domicile? Am I using that right? I'm trying to use bigger and different words, and I usually do, but I want to know if that's right. If not, let me know in the comments. I live here, and you are now invading. She would if I got home early from work before her, she would text me, did you go to work today? She came over again unannounced and asked why my car wasn't pulled up all the way and I must be going somewhere. She would constantly spy on my boyfriend's truck leaving and saying that we're always gone. When, first off, it doesn't matter, as my fucking best friend says, it doesn't matter if we're out picking up prostitutes. It's none of your fucking business. So for you to be looking in our driveway and asking where we are, and then offering us food or doing shit when you know we're not home, which is basically a manipulative setup for when we say no and she says okay. It's like, we're gone. We went to go stroll around the mall and buy $15 worth of something just to get out of the house, or lots of times, we're going to public parks because we're poor and we just want to get outside and have some conversations, or we're going up to the gas station to get a Diet Coke. But she sits over there and with no life and no hobbies, and a drink in her hand and a joint in the other, and is wondering where we are, what we're doing, and why we're not hanging out with her. We don't like you, bitch. We don't like you. Especially after I step in your fucking fecal matter, and then you ignore it for 8 months and never apologize or say anything about it, and then continue to invade my fucking space, practically insult me, insult my boyfriend. Not to mention, I'll try to keep this brief. She's not doing us any favors with this fucking house either. None. Half the outlets in this house aren't grounded. There's no fire detector. There's no carbon monoxide detector. The deck has left both of us bleeding multiple times. Kyle has fallen through the fucking deck. There's vermin underneath it, including raccoons, possums, rabbits, squirrels, cats, whatever you want to fucking name it. I'm sure we got it underneath the fucking deck. And then she's come over and looked at the holes and has done pretty much nothing about them. Okay? The air conditioner kind of works. It's been a bit better this summer than last. Honestly, it's endless. She said that when we moved in, she had somebody come over and clean it. It was not clean. I don't think she knows what clean means. She's brought over food for us before, including crunchy spaghetti and food with hair in it. This is one of my favorites. At Kyle's birthday dinner, she took the sauce bottle, right? We're at a smokehouse, and she took the bottle and was putting the tip of the barbecue sauce bottle on her, like, bit sandwich. She had sauce on her finger before we even had food. She had food from another meal on her hand before it's like she's disgusting. She's absolutely disgusting. She's not someone that you can actually look in the face. She's not. Multiple people have told me that after looking at her. So it's not like it's just me, right? And you can just tell when someone doesn't take care of themselves. And for anybody that's thinking I'm harsh or that this is crazy, it is crazy. And I also am not harsh because there's more. So along with the consistent invasions and us repeatedly asking not to come over here without letting us know, which to anyone is normal. Anyone at all. I also would prefer a stranger to come over to my home than you, because you're a narcissistic cunt. You're a fucking bitch who expected on top of the rent that we pay you, which, by the way, she says, are you going to come over and pay the rent today? I have $600. Is that okay? You don't have any more? Like, these are the things that she's saying. These are the things that she's saying, and this is her fucking son. We watch her dogs over the 4th of July weekend in 2024, and I watch her dogs. Her house is disgusting. It smells. I watched them for 4 days, me and her son. They don't give us any, I'm like a piece of fudge. They didn't bring back a magnet. They didn't bring back a eclectic bottle of wine. Also, we had asked for like a couple $100 off rent because we watched our dogs for 4 fucking days over the 4th of July weekend, so we couldn't do shit. We stayed here because I don't do that with animals. It's like if I asked somebody to watch our cats when we went to Chicago, and I asked the person that I knew would do the same things that I did. Came over here multiple times, played with my kitties, sent me pictures of them, were very kind. And she's great. Love her. Absolutely love my neighbor. Then they get home early. We had asked them what time. They said 1. They get home around 10 on a Sunday, and they don't let us know that they were home at all. But they've already taken off again to go up to the dive bar that I just forementioned to go get their Bloody Mary special. And they didn't bother to let us know that they were home at all, and they never came over to say thank you. And so when my boyfriend asked for like a couple $100 off rent after all this bullshit, after a fucking holiday weekend, we're a young couple, we didn't go and do nothing. She goes, oh, well, you guys could have went. They would have been okay for the day. It's like, no, I don't leave animals home alone for 8 fucking hours unless I absolutely have to. I'm not a bitch like you. She leaves her animals all the fucking time to go drink. It's like, that's not who I am. That's not who I am at all. And she was astonished that we wanted money off of rent. Something that people normally offer. Yeah. So that was pretty crazy. It's bizarre. It's truly bizarre. All the text messages, where did you go? Did you go to work today? Why do you have all these fucking questions are just spying on me. Fucking spying on me. Not to mention what I've already told you, putting her fucking hands up to the glass and looking through. Now, you may be like, Nina, you're all about boundary setting. Nina, didn't you tell her? And to this I say, yes. I also had Kyle do it more because it's his mom and I'm not trying to start things, right? I played it as we need to get out of here. I'm just going to avoid her at all costs so that nothing happens, all right? That was my whole plan. Now, I had also, one of the last times she put her hands up to my glass to look in. This is back when I was smoking. So I had like booty shorts on after I'd gotten home from a walk and a tank top. I was sitting in my Papasan chair smoking a fucking bong. And I look up and this bitch is looking through my goddamn windows. She was just over the other day for nothing. Nothing. There's no reason for her to come over. By the way, also, often when she would text like after. So she'd say, I came over and you weren't home, in a text message. It's like, then why didn't you text before? Right? So she came in. I was not in the mood for company at all. And she's sitting here. She worked her way in the house because I did not open the door. Like, I opened it with a crack and I said, hey, what's going on? And she goes, not much. The kitties get any bigger? Weren't you over here yesterday? This is what I'm thinking. Weren't you over here yesterday? Why are you over here again? What do you need? What's going on? You're coming over here because you're bored. You're coming over here because you want to. I don't ask you to come over here. I don't want you to come over here. Don't come over here. There's no reason for you to. So she weasels her way in, and I'm sitting in, like, uncomfortable. I'm in these booty shorts in front of my fucking boyfriend's mom. So I ask her, can you please not come over here unless you text me? Because I really don't appreciate it. And I think honesty is the best policy. She says, I can do that. I'm like, great. Kind of move past it, talk a little bit, she leaves. Now, Kyle takes me to Chicago for my birthday, which I can't imagine what she thinks, because like that next month we were a little short on rent, which to most mothers, they'd be like, yeah, no worries. I know you took that vacation. I'm glad that you could take Nina somewhere. I know she's been going through a lot, and you definitely deserve a vacation yourself. I love you. No problem. Get it to me whenever you can. I'm not saying this because I'm biased. I'm saying this because my criminal fucking abusive mother, she would even do this. She's let me not pay rent. So that's what's crazy. That's another story though. She comes over after my Chicago trip. And she did text this time. And I said, I have errands to do, but sure, you can come over and chit chat for a second, because I appreciated her asking. She comes over and asks me how my Chicago trip was. I show her pictures of her son and me, but her son in Chicago. She hardly fucking looks at them. And then she begins to show me pictures of her fucking grandkids and talking about herself. So then I was like, there was so much shit. There's been so many different instances of all this, right? But I'm summing it up because I can't have this bitch be an hour, 2 hours long. So I was like, oh, you are just like, you're a different fucking breed. You don't give a fuck. You are so lame and such a loser. You don't have anybody to fucking talk to. So you came over here to show me shit I don't give a fuck about. Now, this is the grand finale. This is what I started this whole podcast episode for. I'm sitting at home. Honestly, I can actually go back and I can look at the day that this happened. Let's look at the day that this happened. It's going to be July 17th at about, I'll say about, this happened maybe 3:25, 3:30 on July 17th. I'm sitting, I think I just ate. I am sitting with the cats. I'm waiting for Kyle to come home because he'll be home in like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. And I might do one of my errands or something, whatever the fuck, right? Doesn't matter. I hear a knock at my front door. I'm like, that's weird. There shouldn't be anybody knocking at my door. So I check my phone, right? And I'm like, there's no text message from her. So I'm not opening it because I'm done. Because she's done this a lot. This exact thing that I'm going to tell you, she's done this a lot. Then I hear my back gate opening, which she's also done before. She's come to the back door when we don't answer the front, which I don't understand how anybody in their right fucking mind would be like, well, they didn't answer the front. I'm going to go around back. And then I quickly go lock the door because I'm not going to put it past her to come inside. And I stand in the hallway where she won't be able to see me, and I contemplate what I'm going to do. I actually sat and I thought about it for a minute, and I took some deep breaths, and I said, there's no way. And she knocks at my back fucking door. She had previously, the day before, sent Kyle a picture of her new puppy, which he didn't respond to because he doesn't give a fuck. Why would he? I say, let's do this. Because this has been going on for far too long. You have continued to disrespect me time and time and time again. Which, the funniest thing is that both of her children are already more successful than her. They're both more attractive than her. They both are with better partners. They are both, like, it's absolutely amazing, which I guess is what you want as a mother, right? But to, like, just be so far below, like, good is crazy. I go outside and she has brought her new puppy over to my house, which I'm going to also bring this up. I reread the rental agreement, and the landlord can come into the home within work hours, but is supposed to give us 24-hour notice. She has never done that once. Never. Because she likes to decide which hat she's going to wear for the day. So landlord wants her fucking money. Where's your money? Where's the money? Are you going to pay your rent today? And then mom just thinks that she can show up, right? So she just put on that hat. I go out there. I'm standing about 2 or 3 feet away from her. And I say, and this is paraphrased, but these things, they might just be out of order, but this is the gist of what I said. What are you doing? I'm tired of you coming over here unannounced. I don't want you to be over here. I don't want your company. You're constantly breaking boundaries. Now you're in my backyard. And then she points to the fact, like, she points to the other side of the house, like she had come to the front door, and I just didn't even let her speak. Said, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is my home, because I don't even want to call it my home because I hate it. It's like, this is where I'm staying. This is my space, and you're constantly invading it. I'm tired of it. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want you in my life. I don't know if I said that or not, but this is the gist of what I'm saying. And I hope, with the dog, I said the dog has big paws, very cute. Have a wonderful day. Don't come over here, and Kyle will talk to you shortly. So that's basically the gist of what I said, okay? Keep in mind, setting boundaries for me is not easy. It wasn't ever something I was allowed to do. So it's practice, right? And learning is vulnerable. So all of this, I'm shaking during all of it, like visibly nervous, talking to her. She leaves. I end up going over to my friend's house because I couldn't stay here. I told Kyle what was going on. We had a bit of a scuffle about this because it doesn't matter now because it's all over, but he should have said something that day that it happened, and not have prolonged it. But it got to the point where I was fuming, and she never apologized, right? So a barbecue happens the 27th. So, wow. Just 10 days later. I was over here thinking it was like 2 weeks. Yeah, it was just 10 days later. A barbecue happens where the family is going to be up. So it's his sister, her husband, their kids, and then her boyfriend's kid, and all this shit. I'm not going. I don't give a fuck. I don't want to eat her nasty ass food. Which, by the way, there was another time she had a barbecue and that food sucked like dick, dude. Her food is terrible. I also am tired of sitting around a whole bunch of motherfucking white people. And it's not necessarily a race thing. I think for so long, I haven't been around people that look like me. And you don't have to look like me for me to like you. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm sure if there's people of color out there or people even not, it's just constantly uncomfortable to be the only black person. I'm very confident with myself. I think I'm a very beautiful woman. And I love my complexion. I love the fact that I have melanin. And I honestly am okay with it. Not necessarily okay with everything that's happened to me in my life. But it's what has made me. And I knew one day that I was going to be a strong, badass bitch. And I am. But I'm just tired of it. And to be completely honest, I'm tired of hanging out with people that are beneath me. And to anybody that thinks that that's vain, say that that's crazy, you know, that's rude. It's, the thing is that, you know, those family members of his make more money than me. I don't make any money right now because I'm not employed. Because I've been packing up this whole fucking house. So, and I'll be getting to that in a minute. You know, I'm not employed at the moment, but other people make more money than me in that family. They have college degrees or whatever the fuck, you know, but that doesn't matter to me. What matters is the fact that you don't see that the system's broken. It doesn't work. You also don't see that my generation and the millennial generation is fucked. You refuse to understand that. So I'm just not going to be around you. It doesn't work for me. And I don't feel respected. I haven't been respected by a lot of these people. Her boyfriend and his family aside, because I don't know them hardly at all. But I'm done. Like, I'm done fucking dealing with you. So I don't go. So Kyle ends up going on a walk with his sister and kind of explaining everything that's been going on, talking about his childhood, talking about their relationship and everything like that, you know. And he ends up going back over to that barbecue, which was not originally part of the plan. So I get a little bit testy because it was his day off, and I get to see him 2 days a week for like full days. Other than that, he's working, which is okay. I get it, and I understand. So he went back over. I ended up going to a park, and I was getting frustrated because he still had not said anything to her, but she had the audacity to ask where I was. Why would I go to your barbecue? Why would I sit in your home and eat your food when I don't like you and you invaded my space 10 days earlier? And I had a confrontation with you and you left, and that was all that was said, and you never apologized. So why would I come over and eat your food? Anyway, he ends up texting her, you know, like, this is ruining my relationship. The fact that you've disrespected Nina, you need to apologize to her. Honestly, if Kyle walks in the door right now, I might put him on and or get his phone and read the exact messages. She says, what about the rest of the rent that you owe me? And it's like, just the pure narcissism, the pure lack of accountability, she's so fragile. Her ego is so weak that she cannot admit when she's wrong. And even when she has admitted that she's wrong, she turns around and goes and does the shit that we've asked her not to do. So a quote that I love that my therapist told me is, a sorry or an apology without action or change is manipulation. So fuck you. So she says that. And she says, you know, I'm doing you here. I don't understand why. I own the house. I own the house. Which I was waiting for her to play that card, right? I don't understand if it's a big deal for me. I don't understand why it's a big deal for me to come over there for a second. Okay, rental agreement. I'm not your kid. Your kid's not here. Why are you coming over when your kid's not here? I don't have a relationship with you. I ignore you. I've ignored multiple of your text messages. I don't speak to you. Dude, this bitch is so pathetic. I saw me pull in from work one day. She came out and sat on her front porch expecting me to come walk over. And then I watched her walk back inside. I don't know. I'm not doing this shit with you. It's not my fault that you're pathetic as fuck and have no life. So she says all that in that text message. And then he goes, honestly, I can't remember what he had said back. But she ends up saying, you know, I'm doing you a favor by renting the house to you. I could have gotten $2,000 for it, but I'm giving it to you for $1,000, which there's a list of problems with this house. And if anybody off the street walked in and wanted to rent this place, there's been no inspections. Like, I listed those little things off to you. There's more. So they're not going to fucking live here. There's hazards. Like, it doesn't, and it's dirty. Because I'm not going to clean the cigarette smoke fucking yellow film off the blinds because I didn't fucking put it there, and I don't care about this fucking house. So I'm not going to clean it. You know, and also, my favorite, her couch actually smells like complete dog shit because she smoked on it. There's dog hair embedded inside of it. And for the longest time, we couldn't figure out what the smell was. And it was her fucking couch. So now we've tried essential oils, baking soda, vinegar, fucking leather cleaner. all the shit. Now we just have to cover it up and hope for the best. And then when it gets warm out, it heats up the fucking smell. And it's disgusting. From the very beginning, this fucking couch. Anyway, I digress. She says all that bullshit in the text message. And then she says, I have bills to pay, right, about the rent. And I have a lawyer. And I have to pay for his services. I have to protect myself. So we're like, what? Does she think we're not going to pay the rent? Like, what the fuck? Right? Kyle goes into it, which, by the way, all that shit, all of that is not taking accountability and being so fragile that she does not want to admit that she does anything wrong. She doesn't. That's the sickest fucking part to me. It's the most disgusting fucking part. Besides the fact that she's a boomer and she doesn't get what shit is anymore. So let me get some more water because I'm about to die. So Kyle says, this isn't going to go anywhere over the phone. I can talk to you tomorrow. She's like, well, you could have texted me today or you could have come over today instead of texting me. He said he tried to come over the day before the barbecue. Correct. Because he texted her the day of the barbecue. This is last Sunday. Today is Wednesday. So Monday he goes over there and they're talking a little bit about his childhood and about how she doesn't have empathy with the rent and how she needed to apologize. She said, I don't understand why you need to apologize for invading her space. Then he explains a little bit about my past and why would you think that she wants to be popped up on? You know, and she sits there, just the family just sits there when you say anything that's like mildly defensive for yourself to protect yourself because they don't like it, right? And they also don't take any accountability. So, and then they'll hang on your last words too, or like if you misspeak, that they're going to focus on that, you know? And again, narcissism, they're focusing on anything they can just to not fucking admit that they're wrong. So she goes, well, yeah, you know, I have bills, and the same shit that she done in the text, she says here. And this is what made me make this recording, because for the longest time I wasn't going to. Well, I had to get a lawyer. I have to protect myself. Kyle's like, yeah, what about that? I don't understand why you have a lawyer. And she's like, to protect myself. He goes, what do you need to protect yourself from? And she points to the house that I'm in from her. Kyle goes, what the fuck? Why do you have to protect yourself from Nina? And she goes, because she's a half black woman. And Kyle says, what does that have to fucking do with that? And she says, well, she says it all the time. And it's like, I do in a way, but not really. And also I haven't talked to you in months. So how could I be saying it all the time? And then also I've worked in a place, multiple places actually, when I'm the only black person working ever since I fucking moved up here. And now I'm the only black person in yet another fucking narcissistic, unhygienic family. So, not his father. His father's fine. But yeah. So that was what, and I'm actually really composed right now. I haven't even had a therapy session after all of this has happened. So I am still in shock. So yeah, my boyfriend's mother, who is a weak-minded, poor, pathetic excuse for a human being, and a pathetic mother who was never there for her children, and a narcissistic cunt. She got a lawyer because I'm a half black woman and she thinks she needs to protect herself. So the only thing I can come up with is that when I went out and stood 2 to 3 feet away from her and defended myself against her consistent invasions of my privacy, which is in the lease agreement, she believes she needs to go and get a lawyer. So this whole thing is very similar to things my mother has done, and it's just triggering to be in yet another home with some sort of controller and ruler who makes no sense and is not legitimate in any of their beliefs. So she's rooted in bigoted fucking uncultured paranoia. The same dumb, stupid bitch that, I straightened my hair for Kyle's birthday because I knew he liked my hair straightened sometimes, and I was just trying to do something different. Look good for him. Love my man. She comes over because we were all going to go out to eat the same time that she drags that fucking the bottle cap over her fucking food that other people use. And same instance as that. She says, "Oh, did you get extensions?" Which, I have a white friend back home, my hometown, who, when I told him that, he said, "What? This is a white man, and he knows it's not extensions. I straightened my hair, you dumb bitch." So she has no culture. That's the shit. And actually, my other friend, shout out to Ash, she describes this as the audacity and caucasity to even say this shit about me being a half black woman. And that I'm sick of white, like, fear of black people. Like, it's so crazy to me. And she also says it's insane when the color of your skin is brought up into something and it doesn't make any sense. So, and the thing is with these people in general want to give boomers and older people a pass on being uncultured, but really I don't. And I think we all know I'm not liberal. But if you choose your whole life to put yourself in situations with people that only look like you and only go to places that have people in them that look like you and believe what you believe, you're a fucking bigot and you're a dumb cunt. Because that's your choice to stay ignorant and to stay uncultured and to stay a swine. You're fucking swine. There's absolutely, it's like, I've talked about how sometimes I'm not the biggest fan of the fucking Arab community, okay? But I still know shit about the community because I've met people. Babysitter I had growing up for years was an Arab woman. I've worked for Arab people. I've befriended Arab people. Fucking 3 of the niggas I dated before I've been in this committed, loving relationship with Kyle, fucking Arab dudes. It's like I've been around other fucking people. You've chose not to, so you're uncultured and you're a dumb bitch. Fucking extensions. This is the same woman also who Kyle had another mixed race, exactly like me, mixed race friend growing up. And he was saying, like, whatever dude, in front of his mom. Kyle was saying, whatever dude. And this woman says, "You're hanging around Jerome. That's why you're saying dude so much." I tell my friend that on the phone, fellow black woman, and she goes, "That's funny because black people don't say that." And I'm like, damn right they don't say that. They don't say, I wasn't even raised with black people. Wish I was, but we don't say that. That's not shit that we say. I say dude because I'm half white. But like, fucking, have you ever heard of skater culture? Have you ever heard of surfing culture? It's like, hey dude, like, what are you fucking on crack? Like, you don't make any fucking sense. So now you sit over there with Miss Two Strokes. She's had 2 strokes and she continues to sit and drink and fucking poison her body with sugary twisted tea bullshit and then smoke weed. Yeah. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. Look at what you're doing. Look at how you look. Look in the mirror. You're jealous as fuck. You're a jealous bitch. Because I've been able to overcome my struggle. I got a man that loves me and takes care of me. Oh, she also said I'm using Kyle. Which, by the way, I've been out of work since June. We'll just say June 13th, my birthday. And the whole time I've been out of work, I have been doing 2 to 3 hours of therapy a week because I'm fucked up in the head from my childhood. I've been working on myself via diet and physical, by going to the gym. I've been diagnosed with PMDD, which I had actually talked about in like 2 episodes ago. I think it was the second part of my 4th of July crisis. I am trying to manage my medication with ADHD. All of these things take work. And I've also been packing this whole fucking house up by myself while my man's at work making money so we can get the fuck out of here. And making food and taking care of my body and doing grocery shopping and doing laundry and making sure the dishes are done. Doing all this shit. So you want to say I'm using him? She doesn't pay for anything. It's like, bitch, you're mad because your nigga's never gonna fucking marry you. She wears the wedding ring that her ex-husband gave her and pretends as though she's married. You're pathetic. You're fucking pathetic. And this is also the same woman where so I've defended myself against her, right? I got catcalled by 2 dudes when we were out in Ipsy, anyway, sorry. I get catcalled down in my hometown, and this basically like, you can join us, and I'm like, can my boyfriend come too? Because he's right behind me holding he's in front of me carrying his niece's baby carrier with a baby in it. And I'm holding the hand of a 2-year-old. And you're going to catcall me. This is the same fucking woman that said, I just thought that was so amazing what you said. I thought that was so cool. It's like, yeah, because you've been walked on your whole fucking life because you're a dumb cunt who never protects herself. That's why you get treated like shit, and that's why you treat yourself like shit. Hashtag trauma, fix it. Fix it, you dumb motherfucker. That's why, like, what do you mean? What did you think I was going to do? Oh, nah, bro, I don't do that shit. If you've listened to any of my shit, I don't do that. Fuck you. Fuck you. So I call it, oh, that was so cool. That was so funny what you said. It's like, you're acting like you've never heard any of this shit before. What do you mean? You've never said that? Yeah, because you've been walked on. You've been stepped on, bitch. I don't take that. That's why you don't like me. Because then when I turn that shit on you, oh, she's a half black woman. I have to go get a lawyer. Yeah, because I defended myself. No, bitch, I should go get a lawyer. I should go get a fucking lawyer because you're the one that's broken the fucking lease agreement. Yeah, go fuck yourself. I should go get a lawyer because you've never done an inspection on this house and I have no fire detectors or carbon monoxide detectors. I should go get a fucking lawyer. I fucking cut my toe, which still has a fucking mark on it, and it was bleeding a bloody gash from your fucking nasty ass splintery deck. Yeah, I should go get a fucking lawyer. My nigga, your son, fell through that fucking deck because it's weak as shit and rotted. Yeah, I should go get a fucking lawyer, but you need one. You need one. Okay, so that was what has just happened this week. I have never really told any stories about this shit, but I think it was time to fucking come clean because I'm fucking tired of this bitch. She's stupid as fuck. She's a narcissistic cunt. I'm done dealing with people like this. She is stepping your fucking shit and then you gonna do that? Stepping your shit and then you need to go get a lawyer. Shit, I'll call. That was a hazard. That was a hazard. A chemical hazard, a spill. Yeah, fuck you, bitch. You're out of your fucking mind. She's out of her mind. Good. Go ahead and spend all that money on a lawyer for no reason. Which who knows if that's true? Who knows? Who has any idea? But for so long, you liked that I defended myself. I would tell her stories about work and she'd be laughing and smoking weed. And now when it's turned on you because it's rightfully so after I've ignored it for a fucking year, a year that I haven't asked you anything there was, by the way, also no vulgar language when I talked to her. I kept my voice to a minimum, the best that I could. And then she wanted to go get a lawyer. Go get a lawyer. Okay. Go get a lawyer, bitch. Go get a lawyer, you racist fucking bitch. What the hell? What the hell? Because I'm a half black woman. Dude. So that's the saga of this bitch and my future not really mother-in-law. So she was already not going to see her grandkids, like, ever, because I don't want that example of a woman around my children ever, because that's not how a woman acts, regardless of, like, I'm not talking about, like, the race or, like, the narcissism. Of course, a little bit of that. That's a big part of it. But it's like, you're an unhygienic and gross person in lots of different ways. And you're stupid and uneducated. So I don't really want that example of a woman around my children. I'm good. So, yeah. And then on top of this, she don't know what's going to hit her. She don't know. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So yeah, to deal with this and then still be in my phase of healing and then trying to do this whole van life thing, which is in the works still, which I'm really excited for. It's just crazy. It's absolutely fucking baffling and it doesn't make any sense. Don't you guys hate when you have a burp but then you can't get it out? It's like the worst. It's the worst thing. But yeah. So that was this past weekend. Not with Theo Vaughn, just with me. Yeah, absolutely fucking crazy. I hate this bitch. I honestly, and if you guys have listened to any of my podcasts and shit like this with talking about my mom and my history with my mom, I almost wanted to call her. I almost wanted to fucking call my mom, which I haven't spoken to my mother in like 2 years. But like, I was tempted to call my mom to tell her about this shit. Like, are you for real? But then, of course, my mother would be like, well, you're the one that doesn't want to talk to me for 2 years. It's like, yeah, but didn't you, like, molest me? Like, didn't we have tickle sex? You know, so that's a whole different story. But, yeah, absolutely fucking crazy. I hope that you guys enjoyed that story. Questions and comments, please ask. I would love to put this bitch on blast because now there's just been a different line crossed, you know, and then to have somebody be so threatened by somebody as beautiful and intelligent as me. She really doesn't know what's going to hit her now. And it's not even, there's nothing legal, nothing crazy, nothing physical, like nothing verbal even, nothing. But when it comes to my ability with words and my stance on shit, all this tells me is that she's threatened by me. And to be honest, I find it funny. I find it funny, and I honestly get a kick out of it because this is what has been going on my whole life. This is why I'm the black sheep. This is why I'm the chain breaker of generational fucking trauma. This is why I'm in a relationship with a dude that's 12 years older than me, and he's white and I'm black, because this is what I thrive in. I thrive in chaos. I thrive in what I'm not supposed to be thriving in, and I still make it out the fucking mud. So I'm a badass bitch, and so are you guys. I hope that you enjoyed that crazy fucking story, and stay tuned for episode 20. Have a wonderful fucking day. Bye.